What's up, everybody? Welcome to the High Level Husband Podcast. I'm Tommy McAllister, and I'm joined today by my wife, Dianne McAllister.
Hey.
We're stoked to be back. We've taken probably a month or so off. Things have been really, really amazing in our life in so many different aspects. We've been traveling around speaking and doing all of our coaching and building out so many new exciting things for 24. But one of the biggest things that we're focusing on is our podcast. We just needed to take care of some back end work. And so we're going to be back here regularly with so many new cool things. We got some great speakers on mind that we're going to be bringing on here shortly to be able to do that. But one of the things that was laying on our hearts was a topic that we were kicking around multiple times this week in some conversations that I was having with each other, but then with also some friends. And this right here, I cannot tell you enough, more importantly, like how much it changed our life, but how I've watched it drastically change so many other people's lives.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and Dianne and I were just talking about this, where a lot of people miss the boat is I could literally give you the roadmap to have the most amazing, fulfilled personal life where you have so much self-worth and self-love. Same thing to get that to transfer to your wife. Same thing to have that be in your business, in your marriage, in your kids, and all of that. And unfortunately, what we know is a lot of people let it go in one ear and not the other ear, and they plan on doing it later. They don't actually take action on it right there in the moment.
Right. Yeah, they don't. And
so this is one of the things that I want to tell you. Do not overlook this, what we're about to talk here. I promise you. And I'm going to preference it with this. So one of my close friends, amazing coach, absolutely amazing. And I think, the way God's moving right now, we're actually going to be doing some coaching together and leading men together. But we were on a call, me and her do like a weekly call just to like fire each other up and all this other things in life to talk on like business, on faith, on like personal development, on like clients, on all these other things. And she was talking about a client who's like uber successful, but she was saying he's gotten a lot of breakthrough with her because what she does is great work. And she was saying he still needs it, and he's been with her for a year. And I'm for always having a coach, but I'm like, the way she said it was like, oh, he definitely still needs it. And I'm like, where do you, I'm like, we always asking like, where do you think that's happening? And she started going on some things. And I said, wait, let's hold up for a second. I said, tell me about his friends. And she goes, oh, yeah, they're not who he is. She's like, he's super disciplined with his fitness, with his nutrition. He's like really focused on his business and bettering himself. And his friends, like, they're not really into that type of thing. Yeah. Like they're good at their business and things like that. But other than that, they're just like really not trying to get more out of life. And I said, well, you just found the problem.
Yeah.
And then me and her just rabbit holed that. As hard as that's for me to say, is most people have friends that have been friends in their life from when they were kids,
middle school, high school,
after maybe it's people you work with, things like that, and they just become your friends. Maybe it's friends from your kids, and those are their parents who it is, and so you're doing life with them.
Yeah.
You're choosing to do life because of proximity, not because of purpose. I loved my friends that I grew up with. I loved some friends that I had after that. But I'll be 100% real with you. I'm 1,000% fine. I don't do life with them anymore.
Yeah, likewise.
Because the conversations became more about sports, fantasy football, movies, dumb things like that mean absolutely nothing in our life. Absolutely nothing.
Not bettering us at all.
No. Like those are cool for every now and then to watch sports, maybe once a week for an hour. Maybe it's okay to watch maybe an hour or two worth of TV a week. Maybe it's cool to do a fantasy football league where you give a little bit of effort, but not where you're just like, man, like all into it. And so I'm not dogging that, but what I'm saying is our friends. Our friends matter more than you will ever imagine. And I'm about to tell you, you're going to say, well, yeah, I mean, I don't know about that. Like my friends are good. No, look at your friends and ask yourself, would you trade lives with them? Would you want their life? Would you want their marriage? Is it like better than yours? Would you want their finances? Is it better than yours? Would you want their faith life? Is it better than yours? Are there character traits where they don't cuss and check out chicks' butts and do all these other things? Is it better than yours? If the answer is no, they shouldn't be your friend.
Right. Or not a big part of your life anyways.
Because of this, You should look at your friends and they should be able to tell you hard things. You should be able to look at your friends and they should be able to be like, man, I want what they have. But they should be able to look at you and say, man, I want what you have. You should be able to lift each other up and challenge each other. Your friends should make you a better man, a better husband, a better father, should make you more money, should do all of that. If your friends do not do that, they're not aligned with what you are here on this earth for. And so here's a quick story. Man, actually, Dianne wasn't on this coaching call, but we've talked about it. One of our clients, he was talking about, man, I just don't want to get to the end of life and just be that guy who worked a ton and had a bunch of money. But like when I look at my family and my kids, and I think to myself, man, I wish I worked less. And I wish I had a better marriage and kids, like relationship with them. And I said, yeah, brother. I go, there's a lot of men out there like that. Mm-hmm. I said, but why can't you have it all? I said, why can't you work a ton, have an amazing marriage, and have an amazing kids relationship with them all? Now, some of you might work and like do concrete all day long and it just breaks your body. You hate it. Or maybe some of you hate your job. I'm not saying work more because like, that's what you want.
Right.
It's when your job is like what you're supposed to do.
You love it.
His is something he loves, but it's not his wife's vision. And so he didn't pair his wife's vision and their marriage's vision with his business. And so he's pulling in one way, she's pulling in another way. Well, so they're heading in opposite directions. So no wonder she resents him for working all the time. No wonder he resents her for not being appreciative of the hard work and wealth he's generated, because it's not aligned. But when you both are on the same page for that, then you're pulling in the same direction, and your wife won't trip if you're working extra hours.
Yeah. She'll be more supportive.
She'll be more appreciative.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is your friends should be on that same vision as well. If your friends are friends like this that tell you, hey, man, really you're on a diet again? Man, come on, really? You can't just have 2 beers, dude? Hey, man, like, dude, let's go to the strip club tonight. Or if you have a friend that you're out to lunch and they're like, dude, check out that waitress's ass. Pardon my French, I know I rarely cuss on here. But if that's a friend in your life, you need to put your foot in their ass, right, and tell them to go. They are a cancer that's bringing you down.
Yeah.
It's the same way we were talking about my coach's friend, client who is still hanging out with people that are just not on his level. So you know what he's doing? He's not raising them to his standards. They're lowering him to theirs.
Right. You
want friends that keep raising you to their standards and you to them. So the number one question that people always ask is, well, how do I go about doing this? Right? Well, where do I find these people? Like, these are like, you already just mentioned it. I hang out with these people at here, and here. The simple answer would be say, hey, find them at church, find them at the gym, find them at other places like that. That's cool. Like, those are great places, but you'll still find lukewarm men at church.
Yeah.
You'll still find lukewarm men at the gym that are like, maybe they're fit, but they don't have all the other things. Maybe the dudes at the church have some spiritual life, but they don't really have all those other things.
They're doing better in one area, but still slacking in some.
You need to find the elite 1% of the 1%. And why do you need those? For the exact reason I just told you. They're going to pull you up to their standards, and then you get better. Well, why does your wife always bring up things from the past? It's because she sees you as the same person. You maybe have stopped doing that thing that she brings up the past about. Maybe it was cheating. Maybe it was watching porn. Maybe it was something that you don't do anymore, but you really look, act, feel, love, talk, and hang out with the same people and do all those things the same. Mm-hmm. So you remind her of it. It'd be like, I can't ask Freddy Krueger to be my friend, but he tells me, hey, I've stopped killing people. And maybe he did, but he does the exact same thing. He sharpens his blades on his hand. He's doing all these weird things that are the exact same, right? You can't. It'd be like this. So your friends like to maybe drink. And then when you guys drink, sometimes you end up at the strip club, or you end up places and doing things you shouldn't be doing. Well, then when you tell your wife, well, hey, we're not going to go to the strip club, but I'm hanging out with Mark and Jesse. Well, when you hang out with Mark and Jesse, don't you drink? Well, yeah, but we're not going to go to the strip club. She's going to be like,
that's going to remind her of that the whole time. She's going to be thinking, what are they doing?
Right. But then you're going to be mad because you're saying, we're not going to the strip club though, dude. Like, chill. We're not.
Right.
But she's like, you're hanging out and doing the exact same things that lead you to it.
Right.
Even if you're not doing it, you're still reminding her of it. So what if you're saying, hey, I'm not hanging out with Mark and Jesse anymore unless they changed, and you're saying I'm hanging out with Steve and Theo, right? And you're like, and then she's like, oh, tell me a little bit about them. Oh man, I met them from church. They love fitness. They love their family. Their marriages are killing it. They actually are growing their businesses and things like that. We're actually going to get together. They're going to talk about possibly partnering on a deal or something like that. Or maybe they have a job opportunity for me. She's gonna be like, awesome.
Whoa, yeah. She's gonna be excited.
But if you say, hey, I'm going to hang out with Mark and Jesse, even if you're not planning on drinking and you're just going to go to the golf range and the driving range and knock some balls, she's immediately going to think he's going to the strip club.
Yeah.
So that's why you need to remove these people from your life unless they've changed. Literally just talked to somebody on a consultation yesterday, and he tells me this. He says, hey, there was some infidelity issues in my marriage early on both of our parts. He says, now we're at a spot in our marriage where about a year ago, my wife's best friend, we were having a birthday party, and my wife went to sleep, and my wife's best friend actually went and dropped her husband off back at her house and came back and just was like hanging out. Well, we just started making some food and BS. And next thing you know, she jumps in my lap and starts making out with me. This is my wife's best friend, he says. And he says, so then we stop and I tell my wife the next day about what happened. And she forgives me because that's not his fault. Granted, he probably maybe shouldn't have been hanging out in that situation with her, drinking, nobody else in the house but the two of them, probably a red flag. But his wife forgives him and understands his friend's fault. Well, her wife's friend ended up doing that same thing to multiple other husbands over the previous few months.
Wow.
Her wife, the dude, when I was on the call with them yesterday, says, actually, she's out with her, that same girl right now, and they're still hanging out right now. And I was like, bro, that's mind-blowing to me. That chick should have been kicked to the curb first and foremost, but now your wife's forgiven her and they're hanging out?
What do you think? Where do you think the influence is going to come from to his wife?
Yeah.
Over time, her influence might be rubbing off on her, and then she might end up following the same path.
So if she's making out with other dudes' husbands or other her friends' husbands, do you think she's happy in her marriage? No. So do you think when they're two are hanging out, do you think they're talking about faith and growing their finances, or maybe hitting the gym and getting more in better shape, or hey, we need to go to this conference and learn some more mental discipline and all these things? No,
absolutely not.
She's talking about, my husband sucks. You know what? My husband, he does this and this. And then she goes, yeah, my husband, he does this and this. And then my husband, he does this and this. So her friend is a cancer. Kick her to the curb. Well, that's not nice. She's my friend and I'm there to help her. No, you got in the ditch with her and now you're bringing your marriage down the drain with you.
Yeah, because clearly not helping her.
So back to this. Where do you find these people? This is the high level point I'm going to give you on this. And this is where it gets frustrating. I've gotten thousands of DMs in my life of people who tell me their wife is cheating on them, their marriage sucks, and they don't want to spend any money to get help. I'll tell you where I found all my best friends. It was in places that I spent the most money.
Yeah.
And those people will introduce you to people because you put your money where your mouth is. All the friends we used to hang out with in our old city, all of them, every now and then, will hit me up for some advice. I'll give it to them. But sometimes I avoid their calls when they call because I know they want me to give them advice and they will do nothing about that advice.
Yeah. It goes in one ear and they get excited and then they don't do anything.
Or they try it for a day or two, maybe a week, two, and then they fall off.
Yeah.
That advice will change their life. That advice costs people thousands and thousands of dollars to get. But they don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
So when you pay somebody, you're going to pay for it. I'm going to ask you all this. How many of you guys have all got a free PDF online? Hey, 5 steps to growing your wealth, or, here's a free PDF, how to use AI to grow your business, or here's a PDF to have more sex in your marriage, whatever, right? Guarantee you've all downloaded those type of things. How many of you actually read them or actually implemented them? I guarantee it's really probably less,
really
maybe not zero, but probably
really small amount.
Less than 5%.
Yeah.
You sit there in your inbox. Let me ask you this. Had you paid $25,000 for that same piece of paper, would have you read it?
Absolutely.
Do you think the person you paid $25,000 for that same thing for, and now I'm not saying that's what our coaching is like that price or a piece of paper, but let's just say it was. Do you think that person would go to the ends of the earth to make sure you won? Yeah, because they know you just put hard-earned money on the table.
Mm-hmm.
They respect you for that.
Mm-hmm.
They've also had people in their life who sucked them dry like a leech for free advice and never did anything about it. And so now they're going to watch people who they really, really want to help. In the past 4 years, we've spent over $120,000 on personal development coaching just for ourselves. And this is what we do for a living. Well, why do you guys need coaching then? Because I'm trying to squeak the 1% out of the 1%.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I'm also trying to do with that money? It gets me in rooms with people who are higher up than me, who all paid the same price to be there and want to introduce you to people. Or that coach knows you paid for that and wants to introduce you to people. I can't tell you how many times I've taken clients, and after I've gotten to know them, I said, dude, you need to meet my friend. He's this big business guy.
Yeah.
He owns this, this, and this. And I think you guys would really benefit each other in your guys' different businesses. Let me set up a call between the two of you in a group text. Next thing you know, they're either doing business together, they have a friendship, they're relating on things together, and now they have another brother in their life who actually gets them. Because most people don't actually get them.
Yeah.
The actual desires of our heart. Other people might get us because our marriage sucks, or that we're not getting sex, or that our finances are in a bad spot, or maybe our finances are in a great spot, but we're still unfulfilled. These people are going to really get you because they knew Tommy vouched for you. I'm a successful person. I'm not getting on the call with Joe Blow, but since Tommy vouched for you, I'm willing to get on a call to you because I respect Tommy. And because I respect both of you, because you put money on the table, I already know you're not going to drop the ball when I introduce you. You're not going to be a person that's going to pick this guy's ear and suck him dry.
Yeah.
And so that can happen. Well, let's say that's in one-on-one coaching. Let's say you pay to get into rooms of a masterminds. We run a year-long mastermind. I'm about to start another one as well with another coach that's going to be even a little bit different. These rooms change lives because it's about the men in the room. The coaches are awesome, but it's about attracting high-level men and letting that coaching environment grow together and letting them all build an amazing friendship, because most men don't know where to find them. But when you're in these rooms, you'll find like-minded people who all want the same things.
And having one friend like that is amazing, but being in a whole room full and
Of
having
10
a
other
whole
people,
new set of friends that are like that surrounding you, whew.
It'll change your life.
Yeah.
Because especially if you say, hey, you join a coaching programs, like for what we do is we help Christian men feel phenomenal by winning at work and winning at home, right? And so now if I have all those people who are looking to feel fulfilled in their workplace, use their workplace as a mission, use their workplace to impact lives, and have their marriage be on the same vision with that, and have their marriage just be having amazing intimacy, amazing attraction, amazing conversation, all of that. All the men in that room are looking to do the same thing. So and they're all paying to be there, and they all are going to do the work, and you're holding each other accountable. So now what do you get? You get brothers who understand you.
Yeah.
But if you just join a Bible study at your church, and I'm saying do that, it's better than nothing, 100%. But it might just be you're talking about some scripture with some people who really aren't probably going to do the work, and then you're not really benefiting. Now, I know that's probably me knocking back small groups. They're good. There's just higher levels. We were hanging out with a friend. Here's a great example. 4 years ago, you guys know our story. We lived in a small, impoverished city. We literally lived next to an abandoned house.
Yeah.
All of our friends were mediocre people, either overweight, either paycheck to paycheck,
Not
faith-filled, and their marriages suck. Well, we were very lukewarm in our life at that time. Our marriage was probably the best marriage of the group.
Yeah.
We didn't argue. We still had a lot of sex, but it was still like our conversations weren't all that great. Our sex wasn't all that great. It was still nice to have sex, but it wasn't like, oh man, this is
mind-blowing.
Right now where it's crazy.
Yeah.
So to fast forward 4 years later, here we are, like our inner circle is full of some extremely, extremely high level people. And we were out in Florida. I was out there keynote speaking. We were staying with a friend who I met in a mastermind that I was in for 16 months and spent an arm and a leg to be in with other high-level men. This dude in that room who I was staying with in Florida, I met because of that. I would have never met this guy outside of that. He's become a close brother to now where I'm staying at his house when I need to go out to Florida, and he lives in an amazing house. 2, this dude is far uber successful than I am in the financial world. He's so connected. Most of his clients are billionaires. And I was just thinking to myself, dude, 4 years ago, I'm hanging out with dudes who have a hard time going down to the 7-Eleven and buying a Slurpee. Now I'm hanging out with dudes who, like, when I was there, he was like, hey, bro, have free reign at my house. I'll be back. I got to fly up to the New York Stock Exchange for the day. And then after that, I'm having a media interview, and then I'll be back. Like, dude, I'm like, I can't believe this is my life. It's wild what would happen. I wouldn't have met that guy had I not dropped down serious cash. And that wasn't excess money. That was like all of our money.
Yeah.
But because of it, now I have those people in my life. Because I have high people like that in my life, dude, he helps me retool my business. He introduces me to other people. All these other opportunities are coming on the plate. Well, it's not about what I'm only getting out of him, because this guy's going through it in his relationship, and I'm helping him work through his relationship. I'm helping him ignite his faith life and take it to new levels. I'm helping him in so many other areas as well. So it's a mutual beneficial thing.
Right.
I'm not just there to leech off of him, and he's not there to leech off of me.
Mm-hmm.
But the only reason we know each other is because we put our money where our mouth is. But what he said something great when we were out there. He said, dude, you know why people fly first class? Most people think it's because it's a comfortable seat. He says that's one of the reasons. He says people fly first class because guess what you're doing for 5 hours on a flight? You're sitting next to somebody else who drops several $1,000s more than what it costs to fly back and coach, who's a business person who's working while you're there. And what are you doing? You're sitting next to a higher level person for 5 hours. Not that you're going to chat their ear off. Maybe that's what it goes to, but maybe you guys talk. Maybe when you're working, he sees what you do and asks what you do. And then you tell him, he's like, dude, that's crazy. I know the way God works. He puts people in these planes for a reason.
Yes.
I've seen it happen far too many times to deny that. Next thing you know, you build a friendship. And then it's like, hey, here's my business card. Contact me. Because you paid several $1,000s more for that seat. Now you have a business contact that now will make you thousands, if not millions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
But when you sit and coach, you don't get that. Because the people back there are all the same type of people like you. It's the same type of people who you hang out with in life. But when you pay more, you're around those people. But when you're sitting up there, that person's going to pick a conversation with you because he knows what you paid to be in that seat.
He knows that you're another high-level person, or she.
Right. And so when you do that, now they know. And you're thinking to myself, well, why do I got to pay? That's BS. I don't got to do that. Because that's how you attract these people. Can you do it other ways? Yes, it's just going to take very, 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 very long because they're going to need to build up that trust because they've been burned by so many people in their life.
It's like finding needles in a haystack, right? You have to pick through the crowd if you're not paying to be in those rooms.
Right. It really is. So that's one way. Fly first class. Get in masterminds. Get in personal coaching. We used a funny one the other night, or a different one, I should say. We were like, I'm a big MMA fan. We used to go to fights. I don't watch it as much anymore because our lives and our mission and all that has taken off, and our kids got older. Whereas Saturday nights, I couldn't give 3 hours to watching fights anymore. The juice wasn't worth the squeeze, and so I stopped basically really, really watching it unless it's a fight that I just must see. And I said, babe, do you think the people on the upper deck are networking? Or do you think the people, when you pay that top tier price to be within the first 5 rows, to be when you look to the left, there's Donald Trump. You look over here, here's a bunch of celebrities here and over here. And all the other people aren't all celebrities. They're just people who can afford a high price ticket. Do you think now you're talking about the fight and vibing out because you have something in common? And then they're like, dude, I love your watch, bro. What type of watch is that? And they're like, oh yeah, man. They're like, dude, I couldn't find one. Dude, let me hook you up with my guy. He can totally get you that one, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Dude, well, how can we exchange numbers? Yeah, man, hit me up, dude. Let's get together, man. Dude, we come out to the fights. Dude, I come out to Vegas all the time and fights. You? Like, dude, I live here. Dude, next time you come out, let's grab some dinner. Dude, did you hear what I just did there? I just got you a high level contact because you paid $5,000 for that seat. Now you just made a contact that's big. Worst case scenario, you got to watch the fights from the dope spot. You're out $5,000. But guess what? Now your social media that you're posting about all the things is social proof that you're not and I hate to sound this, that you're not in the top row. Then people on there see, dude, this guy's in the front row. Maybe they're considering hiring you for coaching or business. They go, this guy must be successful. As bad as that sounds, it's the truth.
You're attracting the right kind of people that you want to be around.
And so sometimes people are like, well, why do you guys work with such high level people? You're pricing out all the low-level people. You're right. But there's a reason behind that. Because if you only help people at the bottom, one, they're going to suck your energy dry.
Yeah.
And two, one, we wouldn't make a business of barely making a living because all we're doing is helping people who barely want to pay. Three, I'm not making bigger contacts then. Four, when you help the people at the bottom, it doesn't trickle up. But if you help the people at the top, it trickles down. So if you can get to an influencer, if you can get to a high-level CEO, a renowned musician, name athletes, all these things. So when we help those people, they have such big influences that it trickles down.
Yeah.
And when it trickles down, now they're helping all the little people just because of the stuff they're doing. And I hate to say little people, that's not what I mean. We were at one point. But I needed to get around those people to have them trickle down to us. Well, then what do you think that's doing with our platform now? We're trickling down to other people. And so you have to get to the top for it to go down. The janitor at the business rarely is going to impact all the employees at the business because he has his job to do. But the CEO is in charge of all the other managers. So if he's leading them well and he's leading by example, it will trickle down to all of those people.
Yes.
So that's why we got to get around those people and change our life. So it's the same, to circle this back to the guy we talked about at the beginning of the show, who's with a client and he doesn't have a circle of friends. That's why he still needs one-on-one coaching, that he's not like, I'm all for always having one-on-one coaching, even when you've got that breakthrough, because then you just keep taking the next step and then God's speaking through and you guys are advancing together.
Yeah.
I'm all about that. But he's still kind of stuck in certain areas. When he replaces those friends
and surrounds himself with people that are like him or better,
he's going to have constant all day. So then when he's not on his one-on-one coaching call with her, he has a friend texting him and saying, yo, what's up, brother? Just checking in with you today, man. You've been in the word today? Or, hey, man, we're going to church this weekend. Let's go to work church and then let's get together afterwards and have some breakfast. Boom. Now he's doing that. So now he's got a couple extra hours. Somebody else reaches out to him, is just sending him some positive encouraging stuff or sends him a business deal. Then he's hopping on a Zoom call with one of them later. Now you have this team of people that are pouring into you. So instead of having a 1-hour coaching call once a week, now basically in your life, you're having people pouring into you. Now, I'm not saying have to spend time with them at all times. It's just those texts, the video messages, the voice messages that you send to each other that are uplifting and encouraging for each other. You guys are supporting each other. This is why there's these trees in Northern California. I think there's the spruce trees. Their roots aren't very deep, but it's really windy up in that area. And so what happens is if that tree was by itself, it would fall over because its roots aren't very deep. The way those trees grow together is there's just jam-packed in a grove of trees. Why? Because their roots aren't deep, but they support each other because they're so close. That's what you need in your life. You need other strong trees in your life to support you. But until you get that, watch why your life still sucks. You might be going to church. You might be reading your Bible. You might be at the gym. But your life is still struggling because you don't have those other trees holding you up.
Yeah.
That's why we talk about multiple aspects of leadership. You need all different areas. But you can't go get that if you're not doing those habits. Those men don't want to hang out with, and this is about to sound bad, so forgive me. An obese person who doesn't read the Bible, who sees very limited limitations in his life, who doesn't keep himself well, whose marriage is really not a good reflection, and they argue all the time, and he's always negative in about his life and talks bad about his wife, and maybe he's doing other things. His mindset is super weak, and he doesn't soak up podcasts because people are talking about podcasts and books they've read or all these other things. Nobody wants to hang out with that guy because you're not going to have anything in common.
Unless you're the same exact type of person.
So before you can even get in those, you start by paying the price.
Yeah.
They're going to give you those habits and they're going to hold you to those standards. And at first they won't hang out with you until you get those standards there. Your mental, physical, spiritual, and relational on point. As you're going through that process, they'll be there and they'll walk you through it. But if you already have that and you come in on fire, they're going to immediately go, bing, I want to be with this guy more right away. They'll help you get there though. So stop letting finances hold you back. Stop it, please. If you have financial issues, it's because what I just said. Your friends are holding you back and your mindset is holding you back. You don't believe in God because if you believed in God, you would understand what it says, his promises in the Bible for you, for the plans he has for you, to prosper you and not harm you, for hope in the future. It doesn't say, hey, man, you're going to be living paycheck to paycheck and your marriage is going to suck and all of that. No. He doesn't say that life's going to be easy. Your wife might get cancer One of your kids might get hit by a car. Like, as hard as those things are, it
true.
very well might happen.
Yeah.
But when you are mentally, spiritually, physically, and relationally on point, those things will not kick you in the nuts as hard and knock you down. You'll go through it, but you'll be able to still win every day because of that. You can't change that those things happened, but you can love better during that time. That's why this is called high level husband. This isn't mediocre man. Stop letting the world tell you you need to be mediocre. Stop letting the world tell you that, hey man, having self-worth and confidence is egotistical. Tone it down. Well, you know what they want you to do? They want you to lower your standards to theirs instead of you raising their standards to yours. That's why you keep most successful people say it's lonely at the top, because very few people at the top think that way. I mean, everybody at the top thinks that way, but there's very few people at the top is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's a smaller group of people.
All the Joe Blows at the bar, all the Joe Blows playing fantasy football, all of them think those other ways. That's why you have a million of them. Mm-hmm. And that's why you don't stand out. That's why your wife's not attracted to you. That's why your wife doesn't want to sleep with you, because there's a million of you. She wants to sleep with the dude who's like, that guy's different and he's a one of one.
That's the person that's standing out.
So I know I get bold, and I just like, it's because I just know this is real.
Yeah.
Go get it. Go get it. It's meant for you. Take a look at all your friends right now and say, are you here? Do you make me think, feel, and be better? If the answer is no, they got to go. Now, maybe down the line, you'll be there for them to help them. But in the moment, if you're just like, well, we'll do it together, you ain't doing it together. I'll promise you that, because that person's going to be slow. And then when he starts being slow, they'll say, hey, man, it's okay. We'll get back on the horse tomorrow. No, bro.
And then you're probably going to do that.
Don't have anybody in your life that gives you grace. Oh, it's okay, man. So one time, this one girl who I worked with for 11 years, and I still tell the story because it drives me nuts. She's obese and struggles with a lot of different things in her life, lives in an extremely impoverished town, struggling through life, with her health, and mentally in ways, financially too. Well, guess what? She posted out a post one time, hey, I'm going to do, I think it was only 6,000 steps per day, which honestly, you should be able to get 6,000 steps by just walking around with not even thinking of it.
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying she's extremely obese. She's probably 300. And she said, today was just a rough day. I only got in 3,000 steps. And it was like 10 o'clock. I saw a post about this. And so many people jumped in there of her friends.
It's okay. Do better tomorrow.
Yeah, you'll get back on it tomorrow. No worries. At least you have this goal and you're on it. Those friends
she wasn't on it.
Aren't friends, because they're saying, it's okay if you fail.
Yeah.
It's okay if you stay 300 pounds. That's why she's 300 pounds, is because she started and stopped, starts and stops, starts and stops, starts and stops. Well, you know what that does is it tells her she's a failure. I chimed in and I said, hey, don't listen to these other people. You failed. It's 11 o'clock at night. You have an hour to go get in an extra 3,000 steps. That'll probably take you 20 minutes. Go get it in. You'll go to bed a champion and you'll wake up a champion.
Yes.
If not, you wake up a loser tomorrow. And all these friends are losers with you. And it's the truth.
Yeah, hard truth, but it's true.
Another obese friend from back in the day that I went one time, I challenged somebody on something, or she was saying something, and I said, no, you're wrong. And she says, hey, it's not about achieving your goals. It's about having goals that matters. And I said, what?
Oh, man.
And I was like, that's why this girl's probably 400 pounds. She's really 400 pounds.
Yeah.
Smokes cigarettes and drinks.
A lot.
And I'm like,
what's the point of having the goals if you're never going to accomplish them?
Dude, that's like me saying, hey, it's like, it's about having a job, not going to the job. Like literally, like, hey, I got a job, but I'm not going to show up. I might a couple days here and there a month, but I'm not going to show up. No, again, what happens? You get fired. Guess what do you think that goal does to you? Fire you. Guess what do you think your spouse does to you? Fire you. Guess what do you think you do to yourself? Fire you. What do you think God does to you? It says in the Bible, he who can be trusted with little can be trusted many. Well, then do you wonder why your life is at the same crappy spot? Because God can't keep opening those next doors when he knows you can't even just do one thing.
Yeah.
So do you think he's really going to give you freaking $10 million when you can't even be trusted with the body that he's been giving you? Do you think he's going to give you $10 million when you can't be trusted with your wife? Do you think he's going to give you $10 million when your kids are now obese because you can't be trusted with them? It's the truth. Call me a jerk if you want. I don't care. It's the truth. When you pass those burdens onto your kids, you're ruining their life because they've been the thing that's ruined yours.
Yeah. They're just going to repeat those same patterns.
And then they're going to do it for their kids.
Exactly.
The Bible says we need to pass our inheritance onto our children's children. And inheritance isn't just finances, it's self-worth and value. Don't pass the negative ones on to them. They're worth fighting for. And I'm speaking this because I freaking hated my life for many years because I was that person. So, literally, to the radical things. Buy the first class plane ticket. If you get in the UFC fights, those are the more radical ones. But I'm saying pay to be in a room with other high-level men. Get one-on-one coaching. Show your value and worth.
You're going to make more than you end up spending.
We wrote that down, and I didn't even really go through this here, but like the one mastermind we joined that we were in for 16 months, we just went through it and just off like the top of our head, we almost made all the money back.
Probably more
just from the, but like actual referrals, just from the guys in the room.
Yeah.
And this was a ton of money. So up front, we had to say, well, I might not get this money back. But you know what? Even if I didn't make any money from that mastermind, you know what I got? Best friends. You know what else I got? My wife grew. I grew. Our life has never been the same. But you know what we also got? Our money back on the back end because people were referring to us because now we were in rooms where people were going to refer high-level people to us that will pay the high-level prices.
Yeah. And I got a lot of wives of high-level men.
And so a lot of you guys are going to say is like, well, see, it's always about money. If you think that, then that's why you're broke. If you think that, that's why your life's where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
Money is a tool to be used.
For the better.
Yes. It is. Well, why do I always got to pay people for these things? Well, do you go to work and get paid? Yes. If you don't want to, that's fine. Tell your boss you're going to show up on Monday without being paid. You would never do it.
Nope.
We've spent so much money on coaching in this business to get here. We've ripped our souls out and changed our whole life and did everything more pain than anybody will ever understand to get to this point.
Yeah.
That's why we charge high level prices. But we'll charge high level prices because we'll change your freaking life. We will change your life like nobody else will. That's why. If that costs $20, you ain't going to do the work.
Absolutely not.
If you just want to dip your toes in, we have multiple programs. We have a high-level exclusive one. There's a whole application process. We're very selective that you want to work with. If that's us, go to my Instagram page, Tommy McAllister, and go to the link in the bio and check it out. Or go to our website, highlevelhusband.com. Check it out. If you want me to come keynote speaker for you, same things. If we have two different programs, we have a high-level exclusive one that will be one-on-one, and those are the type of people that get into higher-level rooms, and I'll introduce people to and all of that. We do have an entry-level program as well that's affordable for everybody, and if that's not affordable for you, that's because you have a limiting mindset, because literally you just stop drinking Starbucks for the month and you'll easily be able to pay for that for the rest of the year. You got to do what you got to do. I'm telling you, change your community. So much love. We got to go. Love y'all.
Bye.